Good afternoon, race fans. Welcome here as we get set for our 10th race of the season, the 4th season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. We're here today for the Peak Performance Motor Oil 400 at Pikes Peak International, just a tick over a mile in length. These drivers will be tackling this track for 63 laps of racing. If you didn't tune in earlier today to our non-charter event, we're in for a pretty good race. We ended up seeing them racing side by side from multiple positions inside of the top 10. And another thing that's going to come into play in today's race that I don't believe came into play in last year's race is these drivers are going to have to come to pit road at least once, maybe twice. If we go completely green to the end, it might be close, down to maybe the last 4 or 5 laps as to whether these drivers will have to come to pit road a second time. So the question of whether the money stop will take place around the halfway point of this event or right down to the very end, it remains to be seen. Just a couple of weeks ago, J Belding got his second career win in the Duracell Cup Series and his first of this season at the Pukekohe Road Course. He lines up on the pole position for today's race. Alongside of him is J Gardner. Gardner is riding a long winless streak that stretches all the way back to Season 2 at Dover. Last year's regular season champion, J Millz, he's going to roll off from the 3rd position. Mitchell's actually been on a bit of a cold streak lately as he was up inside the top 5 in points about 3 weeks ago. Now finds himself down in 13th. Alongside him is going to be M Haas, another driver that is very much so struggling in the point standings. Matt is looking for only his second top 10 of the season as he is 34th currently in the points. Let's go down trackside. Let's get those most famous words in motorsports and get these cars a-rolling.
Drivers, start your engines!
Check down in the description below for today's official full starting lineup. And in that lineup, you will see D Poteet, who won the non-charter event here earlier on today, making his Season 4 Duracell Cup Series charter race debut. Last week saw A Garcia go to victory lane for the very first time in his Duracell Cup Series career. Thusly, he is now locked into a playoff spot as he is currently sitting 6th in the point stands. The rest of your top 10 points look like this. It's Dylan Young, still the points leader, the defending winner of this race actually as well. He's 27 points over Levi McIntyre. Benny Watson is 3rd, Carson Gum 4th, and J Millz is 5th. 41 points separating the top 5. A Garcia, as we mentioned, is 6th. J Thibodeaux 7th. Defending champion J Lopes in 8th. Michael Norman now up in 9th. And Mitchell Collins currently in the 10th position. 57 points separating the top 10 in the standings. We'll get to the playoffs in just a moment as the green flag is out. Let's roll at Pikes Peak. All of our former winners so far, with the exception, of course, of Chris Dollerton, are inside the top 30 in points, currently holding playoff positions. 8 drivers in total have gone to victory lane that are up inside of the playoffs. So right now, half of the playoff field would already be determined, provided those drivers stay where they are in the points. And we don't have more than 16 drivers go to victory lane here during the regular season as well. As J Millz continues to try and fight with J Gardner for 2nd place, looks like he's going to have him cleared. Going down to turn 3 is Belding trying to scamper away. J Deaver and M Haas, they're going to battle for 4th. Carter Friesen back there with Ryan Butcher. And Deaver will clear M Haas. Now looks for the 3rd position as caution is out. Yellow flag is out for the first time today, and this is around the same time that we had our first and only caution in the non-charter race, and it was for a 4-wide incident on lap 2. We'll wait and see if that's the case here in this one, as J Belding off turn 4 is going to lead them to the yellow flag. Actually, it came out on lap 3 apparently, and ooh, see there's a lot of skid marks on the front straightaway just crossing the start-finish line. So as Belding crosses, let's see who was involved, and it was Jessica Shelton. Makana Chan TV Chevrolet Camaro smoking as she's bringing that wounded car to pit road. V Almariego, 31st in points after moving over to a single car team of Western Autosports. Got other drivers on pit road, including Levi McIntyre, 2nd in points. Joshua Osborne, the 56. I thought I saw K Batson's 39 on pit lane. N Ormond's got a lot of damage on the right side. There is Batson, all squished up on either side. This This has all the lookings, folks, of a possible 4-wide situation again, as all the race leaders are going to come down pit road. I don't think anybody stayed out. This is interesting. This makes me wonder if coming this early, if it is one more pit stop they'll have to make. If we had gone green to the end, these drivers might have been looking to be about 2, maybe 3 laps short on fuel, but we do have some drivers decide to stay out. J Gardner is going to be the inheritor of the lead when we go back green. Let's go back and see what brought out this first caution of the day on lap number 3. A lot of drivers caught up in this one. Well, incredibly enough, it wasn't a 4-wide situation, but it was 3 wide and not a lot of room given coming off of turn 4. Leader had already crossed the start-finish line at this point. This was at the halfway portion of the field. As V Almariego just runs K Batson out of room. I mean, Nathan's and Lay is usually a very beautiful combination, but not in this case. J Lopes caught behind this. He's going to get a little bit of damage. And then that top line is kind of blockaded up. And let's see who's going to take the first hit. It's N Ormond. He goes down to Michael Norman, who then gets Dylan Poteet. William Brock gets a piece of it. Levi McIntyre. Oh, wow. Clobbers K Batson. Looks like Shelton may have been the one to get Almariego. We'll look back at that further in just a moment. Oh, and then Osborne's going to get into the back of Michael Norman. That is, according to what I'm looking here, 2 of our top 10 involved in this one. McIntyre in the 99 and Norman in the 18. Looks like Dylan Poteet, our non-charter race winner earlier today, got involved in that one too. So let's look at another couple of angles. Let's look here, focused on the 18 of Michael Norman. This should give us a really good idea. This panoramic view directly down the straightaway. There's the contact already. And there's where Ormond gets it, right down to Norman, who then clips Dylan Poteet. Chris Dollarton's going to get a piece of it in the 83. Michael Rood, I think he might get through it. There's William Brock, bottom of your screen, bottom right. As he went up into the wall. Oh, no, Michael Rood got a piece of it as he hit Dylan Poteet. Osborne trying to move up, couldn't do it. Right in front of Benny Watson, who I think was able to avoid. Dawson Wise, Ryan Brommer, Justin Dearborn all were able to get through. Zach Rogers, former winner here at Pikes Peak, the inaugural winner, gets around. And go back and see now about the impact Jessica Shelton took running in the back of V Almariego. Shelton was close to the rear of the field here too. And unfortunately was trapped on that outside line 3 wide with a couple of the Bulldog Motorsports cars. So it was completely boxed in with absolutely nowhere to go. And I believe it is going to be Almariego that she hits right there, yeah. I mean, Almariego is right up against the wall. Yes, Shelton could have probably ducked low to avoid him, but how? When you've got 2 cars that are pinching you up there to the wall, there is absolutely nowhere to go. And unfortunately for Jessica Shelton, you're going to see as soon as she starts moving away from the accident, the scene of the accident, that detrimental, that terminal black smoke erupting from underneath that Chevrolet Camaro. Shelton coming into this race in the 23rd position in points has kind of been mired in around the 20s, 20th through 25th most of this season. Been trying to get her season turned around, and looks like this is going to be a DNF for her today at Pikes Peak. A lot of drivers might be suffering some DNFs here, as we're only 3 laps in at this point in time to today's race at Pikes Peak. We should be getting the 1 to green signal this time, which means that we would go back green flag racing on lap 8 of 63, and indeed that will be the case. So some drivers decide to come down pit road, some drivers decide to stay out. Thusly, J Gardner is going to inherit the lead. Second place is going to be J Deaver, Carter Friesen in 3rd, Jordan Lopez 4th, Cole Baker 5th, and I believe Ryan Butcher in 6th was the last driver to stay out. 7th place on back, all run pit road. Charles Belding, who led the first couple of laps, is going to restart in 7th, Jack Mitchell in 8th, Matt Haas 9th, and Charles Sandfer in 10th. N Ormond's going to line up a lap down on the inside line, so a couple of Joanna Atwood Motorsports cars going to be side by side for this restart, and 5 drivers will not even make it here to this green flag. K Batson, V Almariego, Joshua Osborne, Levi McIntyre, and Jessica Shelton all back in the garage area already. Levi McIntyre 2nd in points. Will not take the points lead over from Dylan Young here today. Green flag back in the air here. A little worried about that slower, damaged machine of Nathan Ormond. We'll see if he's going to be a hindrance to a lot of these drivers who are trying to get up here and battle inside of the top 10, as it looks like at least the top 4, maybe 5 have gotten around him. Yeah, he's dropping like a rock. They've kicked him to the outside. Matt Haas kind of trapped behind him, going to go down to the middle, taking it 3 wide off the corner. As long as they give room, which they didn't. But they made it through. Gracious. Matt Haas almost got turned up into the outside wall, as they're almost going to take Ormond 3 wide again with Turner and Thibodeaux. Hopefully they all make it through there, as we'll jump back up towards the front. Ryan Butcher making a pass on Cole Baker. That is for 5th. Jordan Lopez trying to get to Carter Friesen's back bumper in a battle for 3rd, as the battle for the lead continues on between Gardner and Deaver. Right now the top 4 throw a blanket over them. They're all separated by only about half a second, and the caution is out again. 2nd time today that the yellow flag is going to wave. And a little part of me wonders, does it have anything to do with Nathan Ormond? And it looks like someone got spun off of turn 2. Dylan Poteet's on pit road. Ryan Acosta, former champion, lot of damage on his Credit 1 Dodge. And they're stacking up here under pacing. Dawson Wise, Chris Dalton, Dylan Young, Austin LaPlante, Cody Lamas, they've all got front end damage now. Justin Dearborn further up as well. What happened there? Patrick Smith's now got damage. Mitchell Collins, Matt Haas. I don't know what just happened right there. This is not a track that they normally stack up at. And that is very unusual. Was it the timing of when that yellow came out or what? I don't know. But Johnny Gardner, everybody else coming down pit road. I don't think anybody stayed out with the exception of the lap machine of Nathan Ormond. This is kind of reminding me, at least that caution is kind of reminding me an awful lot of Michigan last week, where we end up having a number of drivers get some damage and stacked up under caution. And thusly, we had a lot of drivers off the pace that the leaders had to deal with for traffic later on in the event. Wonder if that's going to be the case here today. Let's go back and see what initially brought out the caution off of turn 2. Well, we're going to be focused on the 10 of Ryan Acosta, but watch the car ahead of him, the Ally Banking Chevrolet of Austin LaPlante, as he gets a big run here through turns 1 and 2. The slower machine of Nathan Ormond is going to be coming in left side of your screen, as he's been kicked up 3 wide. And watch how LaPlante right here, he's got a big run, big run, big run. All of a sudden, Ormond's going to pinch him down. Contacts made between the two of them. And then Nathan Ormond's going to get hooked into the right rear quarter panel of Ryan Acosta, who's going to take a big shot into the outside wall. And Kyle Mathews, nowhere to go. Dylan Young gets collected. Matthew Rodriguez gets a piece as well. Benny Watson's going to hook Dylan Poteet around. He's going to slide in. Dawson Wise gets a big chunk there in the Pizza Hut Ford. And then I think we had a follow-up wreck here or something. Or I thought we did, coming to the caution flag, but no, apparently not. So that was about a 3-4 car incident right there. Well, 5 if you also count the possible cosmetic damage on Matthew Rodriguez. And then what happens with this stack up is my big question. I think it starts up here. Yeah, I think it starts with the 77, actually, of Patrick Smith. He's behind J Qualls. Now, these drivers have already taken the caution. They're going to catch up to the pace car here, out of turn 2. Actually, it might have been Collins. There's a big gap between Collins and Sandfer. Might have been Mitchell Collins that started this stack up. That's the problem, is there's that gap right there. And Pikes Peak is such a killer on tires. See everybody getting on the brakes. Everybody here doing fine. Oh, and then Mitchell, Garcia, and Sandford just came to a dead stop. So that's really no fault of any of these other drivers back here. As you see, LaPlante, Thibodeaux, Dearborn all get jacked up. That had nothing to do with these guys back here. They weren't able to slow down in time because they were expecting everybody was going to come to a rolling stop of down to 45 miles per hour. that was the fault of Sandfer, Mitchell, and Garcia. I'm not sure what they were doing, but they came to a complete stop on the back straightaway. So that's their error. Whatever was going on there, I don't know what the spotter was telling them or what the crew chief might have thought that, race control was telling them to do, but you just don't come to a stop on the back straightaway in front of traffic because, the cars 10, 12 on back are not going to get that message that you're stopped, and that's why we had that stack up. Well, that's unfortunate there that we end up having to have something like that happen. That's J Gardner and everybody coming down pit road. It's going to shuffle up the running order yet again, but that is our second caution of the day here at Pikes Peak International. Well, we haven't gotten the 1 to green signal yet. Let's take this opportunity to be able to try and settle everything out for you. I mean, we aren't even a quarter of the way through this race, and already we've got more drivers in the garage area working our second caution of the day at a track that typically isn't known for being a caution fest. Pole sitter Charles Belding is now back out in front. Patrick Smith, who was involved in that stack up, you can see he's now missing a hood, but somehow he's running in second. Adam Garcia is now up to third with T Wright in fourth. J Gardner came to pit road as the leader, but he's now going to be fifth. K Deaver in sixth, seventh Carter Friesen, eighth Jordan Lopes, ninth is Jesse Turner, and Cole Baker completing the top 10. Nathan Ormond is still a lap down. He's about to come back up to the inside, so that's going to be something for these drivers to have to deal with again. And the 48 of Austin LaPlante is the latest driver to go to the garage area. So 6 drivers out of the race here, and we are about 13 laps into this race. Well, with all the cautions we've had so far, I haven't had the opportunity to be able to talk about 2 things I wanted to as we're closing in towards All-Star Race Weekend within the next 3 weeks. Got to start focusing on the drivers that currently are in the playoffs and what the playoff grid looks like. But also, how about this track of Pikes Peak? 3 races back to Season 1, and 3 different race winners have gone to victory lane. 2 of them were in the field here today. Zach Rogers, the inaugural winner, and our defending winner, Dylan Young. That was last year. The Season 2 winner is not in the field, but that was a rookie in that year that went to victory lane. Alexander Rowe driving the number 24 for Northeast Motorsports. So could we see a rookie that transferred in through the non-charter qualifying session earlier on today maybe go to victory lane, as Adam Garcia, coming off his victory, his first career Duracell Cup Series victory last week at Michigan, diving to the inside of Patrick Smith. For Garcia, he's looking to make his debut in the playoffs as well, as his win moved him up to 6th in the stands. Here comes J Gardner now, charging for that runner-up spot. So right now, as things stand, we have 8 drivers that are currently in playoff spots with their wins this season and being in the top 30 in the points. Those drivers would be T Wright, he's in the number 1 seed, followed by Dylan Young, Adam Garcia, R Brommer, Charles Belding, Ryan Butcher, K Batson. That's actually 7. My error. Yeah, that's right. It would actually be 7 because we've only run 9 races, which means that we have a battle for the lead, and it's over. J Gardner going to take the top position. That means that we now have 9 spots up for grabs points-wise currently, and the drivers that have those spots are Levi McIntyre, Benny Watson, Carson Gum, J Millz, Jordan Lopes, Michael Norman, Mitchell Collins, Nathan Ormond, and Jack Mitchell. But of course, based off the fact that Levi McIntyre is out of the race, a number of other drivers have had some issues today, that is certainly subject to change, especially if J Gardner, leading this race, goes to victory lane. Johnny comes into this race currently in the 29th position in points. He's 4 points ahead of that 30th in the standings cut line, so if he were to win, he'd certainly open up a bit of a gap to himself in 30th in the standings. There's K Deaver. He's trying to have lightning strike twice in 2 weeks, with the driver getting their first career Duracell Cup Series win, as he's the only driver out of S3 Motorsports that has never gone to victory lane. Just saw Carson Gum 4th in points on pit road, and that Sharpie Chevrolet, there he is. I don't know if that's a regularly scheduled stop or not, but K Deaver coming into this race 26th in the points. There's Carter Friesen. Carter coming into this race 28th in points. Of course, we remember last year the tear he was on during the playoffs, winning 3 races during the playoffs. And Carter Friesen, of course, as well, the Season 1 runner-up in the championship to then-champion Chris Dollerton. Carter's looking for his first win of the season, as is former Daytona 500 winner Cole Baker. Baker currently running in the 4th position. Cole is 14th in points. Been pretty stellar here during the first half of the regular season, and now looking to move up into the podium, trying to make a pass on Carter Friesen. There's Jordan Lopes. You know, we're always wondering when the former champ might be able to find victory lane to defend his championship. 8th in points coming into this one, and currently running up inside of the top 5 as Jesse Turner is now up to 6th. Jesse Turner is 22nd in points, former winner from last year. Jack Mitchell battling with Adam Garcia now for the 7th position. And right now completing your top 10 is Charles Sandfer and Jose Millz. Sandfer with that rear end damage, starting that stack up under the 2nd caution. Jose Millz, the most winningest driver in the Duracell Cup Series. 5th in points coming into this race, and now making the pass on Carson Gum, who right now is in the 31st position, 1 lap down, but you have to wonder if maybe he came to pit road when the fuel window was open to make it the rest of the way. We'll see. This is a strategy call maybe for the driver out of Backmarker Motorsports. What about our 2, as Charles Belding's falling back here to 15th place. What about our 2 former winners here from Pikes Peak? Zach Rogers, saw him do a great job of avoiding the first wreck on the front straightaway. He's now up to the 17th position. And last week at Michigan, picked up 2 spots in the standings, now up to 35th, but continuing to try and claw his way back up in the point standings. Dylan Young, on the other hand, we saw he had a lot of front-end damage. He was involved in the stack-up, right now running off the pace, back in the 27th position. There's Chris Dollerton, the 83. You already talked about during the non-charter race. This is his 6th start of the season. 4 more starts after this, and his Manassas win would count towards a playoff spot. So right now for him, he doesn't really care where he finishes these races, just as long as he makes them. Here's D Poteet making his debut right now in the 33rd position. I think he also is a lap down. Not the debut he was looking for. Matthew Rodriguez back here in 34th. I think he's also fallen a lap down. I think we had a couple of drivers actually come to pit road during this green flag run and now find themselves a lap down, and are probably hoping this thing goes green to the end. Yeah, Carson Gum, Benny Watson, D Poteet, Matthew Rodriguez, and I think Kyle Mathews all have been on pit road since we went back green, hoping probably that this race will go green to the end. These drivers could be good to make it on fuel. As Johnny Gardner, as we mentioned, his last win going all the way back to Season 2 at the Concrete Mile of Dover. As Cole Baker is making a charge, though, he may be the fastest car on the track right now. We saw him get around Carter Friesen for 3rd a couple of laps ago. He has now since made the pass on Cole Deaver and has worked his way up into the runner-up spot, currently a little more than a second behind Johnny Gardner. We'll compare lap times this time around. 28.875 for Johnny Gardner, 28.804 for Cole Baker. As you can see, he chipped away about another 7/100ths that time by. Kyle Mathews is exiting out of turn 4. Johnny Gardner's entering turn 3, so going to be a little bit of time before traffic on the tail end of the lead lap is going to come into play. As we're now getting closer to the halfway point of this race, which is the halfway point of lap 32 for these drivers. Well, Johnny Gardner is not only trying to find victory lane for the first time this season, but also trying to find victory lane for the first time this season for Joanna Atwood Motorsports. Been a bit of a struggling year for that team already, and we're only 9 races in. Highest driver for all of them in the point standings is N Ormond, who is already trapped a lap down today after getting involved in the first wreck. He is 11th in the points. J Qualls right now 16th in the standings. Ryan Acosta and Johnny Gardner, however, they are really struggling as Acosta finds himself coming into this race in the 30th position in points, and Johnny Gardner finds himself in the 29th position in the standings. Gardner does have a top 5 finish this season, just one, and my memory's failing me as to which track that was at. But if Gardner is able to close the deal, that means that Dodge Challenger will go to victory lane here for 2 out of the 4 times that we have visited Pikes Peak International. Of course, Zach Rogers was driving a Dodge Challenger back in Season 1 when he went to victory lane. Pace has backed off a little bit here for Cole Baker. He's now running somewhat similar lap times to Johnny Gardner. Chipping away now, but a lot slower than he was before. J Deaver still in that 3rd position. Jordan Lopez currently holding down 4th, and Jesse Turner currently in the 5th position. Followed by Friesen, Mitchell, Garcia, Sandfer, and M Haas. Let's drop back a little bit further here as we've got some battling just inside of the top 10. Charles Sandfer trying to make a pass for 8th on Adam Garcia. M Haas right there as well in the 10th spot. And then behind them, you got a couple of drivers trying to crack the top 10. Ryan Butcher in the 78, our former winner from Las Vegas earlier on this season. J Millz right now in the 12th position. And the highest of our non-charter drivers, Michael Rude, who I think might actually be the only one of the non-charter drivers that has very little, if no, damage. I think he does have a little bit of damage there that they had to repair on that left front when we saw him make contact with Dylan Poteet for the during the first caution of the day. But great run right now for the non-charter driver in the 13th position, as here comes J Millz to pit road. This is a regularly scheduled stop for the 98. Don't see any of our other leaders coming to pit road, so let's follow the Louisiana Hot Sauce Ford Mustang down pit lane and see what the strategy call is here. My guess is they're going to have to take on 2 cans of fuel anyway, but do you then go with the 4-tire pit stop as well? You're going to go around to the right sides. Which says to me this looks like it is going to be a 4-tire stop. Let's see if they go around and take lefts, or do they just go with the 2 rights? It is a 4-tire stop as Patrick Smith, Mitchell Collins, couple of damaged machines now on pit road, and I believe this is going to begin the cycle of pit stops, as here's the race leader. Johnny Gardner is in. That turns the lead over to Carter Friesen. Cole Baker, who was running 2nd, also on pit lane, and also the 3rd place running J Deaver is on pit road. These pit stops taking place just past the halfway point, as here comes Carter Friesen, Jack Mitchell, Adam Garcia. They're all going to hit pit lane this time. And this should cycle the lead back, I believe, to Johnny Gardner. Question is, what is the gap going to be between himself and Cole Baker, as they were both on pit road on the same lap? And the question is now, is this the final pit stop for these drivers? This is the possibility of when the fuel window would be open for these drivers to make it the rest of the way. So is this the proverbial money stop? There's Johnny Gardner crossing the line. Cole Baker right behind him is going to cross 0.7 of a second behind him. So Baker did close up the gap there on pit road. He was running about 0.9 back when they came to pit lane. So Cole Baker's team, I don't know if it was Baker's ability to get on pit road a little bit quicker, or if it was his pit crew that rose to the occasion. But now Cole Baker hunting down Johnny Gardner as the gap is less than 0.7 of a second now at the line. J Deaver only about 1.2 seconds back from the race lead. He's still got a shot to get up here as well. There you see him trying to get a little whiff of draft off of Cole Baker, and that's going to be an important thing too. You wouldn't think of it at a mile racetrack that the draft would really be that important, but it really is. Draft is what allowed a lot of drivers in the non-charter event to be able to get runs and make passes. And Baker's got it closed down now to a half second. I think he's got a whiff of draft off the back of that 14, continuing to close the gap up. He's bringing J Deaver with him. Jesse Turner now is cycled out to the 4th position. So he and Jordan Lopez just exchanged spots off of pit road. Turner up to 4th and Lopez back to 5th. Jose Millz, who we saw make that early call to come to pit road, apparently that was a great call because it's now moved him up to 6th with Friesen in 7th, Sandfer in 8th, Mitchell in 9th, and right now completing your top 10 looks like it is going to be Matt Haas in the 8 as Benny Watson was in the 10th position. He's now dropping back, but remember the 75 is on older tires. He and a number of other drivers decided to short pit, and they were on pit road back around lap 20. So Benny Watson on those older tires not finding the grip that he needs. And the question is as well whether he and a number of others are going to be able to make it the rest of the way without having to come to pit road. As battle is on for second, Cole Baker pinned in behind Ryan Acosta's slower machine, and J Deaver is going to use the 10 as a pick and move into the runner-up spot. That's also going to slow them up, though, in their attempt to reel in J Gardner. And remember, the 10 of Ryan Acosta is a teammate to Gardner, so might have been playing a little bit of defense, giving Gardner a bit of a reprieve here in not having to battle for the race lead just yet. It's now 0.7 of a second between Gardner back to Deaver, but Deaver still within striking distance of possibly picking up a whiff of draft, especially here down this back straightaway. And that caused Baker to really fall back as well. Baker, I'm sure, will not be happy with the 10 of Ryan Acosta as J Gardner. Let's see what the interval is this time around. Oh, it closed up. It big time closed up. J Deaver just closed it up by 0.3 of a second. What was 0.7 is now down to 0.4, and you can visibly see the gap is closing to now 2 car lengths, 1.5, might be 1 car length when they get here into turn 3, as Deaver is able to drive it really deep into the corner, hooks the white line with that left front, and gets a great corner exit. We've got a battle for the lead on our hands between J Gardner's Dodge, J Deaver Chevrolet, and Deaver drives it deep into turn 1 looking for the top position. Doesn't push up off the corner. Now trying to crowd Gardner a little bit there, up towards the wall, going into turn 3. Oh man, Deaver's car is handling beautifully with those fresher tires. He was right down there on the white line. He'll take the race lead with 20 laps to go. Now going to go to work on the slower machine of Chris Dollerton. Right now, last car on the lead lap in the 30th position. Let's see if Deaver can make quick work of the Interstate Batteries Ford. He'll get to the inside as Gardner's starting to fade a bit here, and actually might not be able to follow J Deaver in this pass of Dollerton. He's not going to be able to. All of a sudden, J Deaver has found a new gear as now Gardner's going to side draft off the 83 and slingshot around him for the spot. Baker right there in 3rd, trying to close in on a 2nd place battle with the Nutrichomp's Dodge Challenger. And Deaver is gone. J Deaver has opened up about an 8 car length lead now between himself and J Gardner, looking for his first career win. We had a first career winner last week in Adam Garcia. We may end up having it 1 week later here at Pikes Peak, but there's still a long ways to go. There's still the possibility a caution could come out late and change everything up as well. Mitchell Collins is right now in the 28th position, last car on the lead lap. He's just now exiting out of turn 4. Deaver is now exiting out of turn 4 here, so about a corner before he catches more traffic, as the battle for 2nd place is going to be happening here momentarily between J Gardner and Cole Baker. I don't know what kind of an adjustment they made on the 14 car, but it has not helped him. I think they may have been trying to tighten him up, and they got it too tight because it's almost like the 14 cannot rotate the center anymore. He also has had a lot of difficulty hooking his car on the bottom. And now, after leading a good portion of this race, Gardner finds himself not only back in 2nd, but in danger of losing that to the Dollar General Toyota Camry. Battle now on for 6th. A couple of Chevrolets, Carter Friesen and Jack Mitchell. Mitchell trying to work his way back up into the top 10 in points after losing 7 spots in the standings last week. A dismal run at Michigan. Friesen's trying to work his way up into the top 25 in points. Both drivers right now inside of the top 10. Charles Sandfer. Solid outing for him, even though he's got that rear end damage in the 8th spot. And here's a battle for 9th. Matt Haas in the 8. Jose Millz in the 98. Looks like Haas is going to complete the pass. That'll drop Millz back to 10th as Adam Garcia, after his win last week, right now in 11th, trying to see if he can get up here and crack the top 10 again for what would be the 6th time this season in 10 races. I mean, Garcia, it just shocks me how an entire season can change the aspect of a driver's luck. Adam Garcia spent most of his time in the cellar of the point standings for the last 2 seasons, 2 and 3. We've already documented that up until last week, he had not been to victory lane in a single Duracell Cup Series race, despite the fact he started every single one of them. But you look at his numbers this year, and I mean, these are champion-looking numbers right now. 9 starts, 1 win, 4 top 5s, and 5 top 10s, which, if he can crack the top 10 again, would now make it 6 top 10s in 6 starts. I mean, or in 10 starts. I mean, this is incredible numbers. The only other driver that's got numbers similar to that is the driver that is currently leading the points, Dylan Young. So it's a career year by far for Adam Garcia. And as I mentioned, this is a driver who I think struggled is the understatement of the year in the past 2 seasons. Carter Friesen and Charles Sandfer now going to battle for 7th as Mitchell has cleared for 6th. Cole Baker has managed to get around Johnny Gardner, what was for 2nd, but now those two have been passed by Jesse Turner, who's now going to move up into the runner-up spot. So all of a sudden, that Old Spice swagger finding some swagger here late, closing on 10 laps to go, but he's got 2.5 seconds to make up between himself and J Deaver. Not sure he's going to have enough time to be able to do that. We'll see. He's going to have to, in 10 laps, close up the gap somewhere around 2/10 a lap, I think, to even be on the back bumper. 29.2 for Deaver that time, 29.3 for Turner, so that time he lost a 10th. So yeah, right now, J Deaver has got the faster pace over Jesse Turner. But for Turner, he's looking for his 2nd top 5 of the season, trying to move into the top 20 in points. So I think with a little bit of a struggling season he's had, as his average finishing position coming into this one is 22nd, I think he would certainly not be disappointed with a top 5 run. As J Deaver trying to be the first driver at S3 Motorsports to go to victory lane this season. Deaver was a charter driver last season as a rookie. And so coming into today, he is making his 46th career start and looking for career win number 1. Battle continues to be for that 3rd position, as now you've got 4 drivers in the vicinity. Baker, Gardner, Mitchell, and Lopes. That is 3rd through 6th, all nose to tail. And if they keep this up, Carter Friesen and Charles Sandfer are going to get into this, and they are. So now you got 6 drivers all lined up from 3rd place on back to the 8th position. This is where things are going to get a little bit hairy in terms of the possibility of a late race caution coming out, as Mitchell to the inside of Johnny Gardner. That's going to be for 4th. We'll see if Lopes can stick his nose in there as Dylan Young's on pit road. Oh boy. If D Young's on pit road, Belding's on pit road. Or is this going to come down to late race pit stops? It might. We've got some drivers pitting here off the back straightaway. Friesen just moved up. I think someone indicated they were coming to pit road. It's Lopes in the 38. Oh boy, it's going to be a fuel strategy race. Who can make it? Deaver's in. J Deaver in the 08 is in. Turner stays out. Oh baby. Just when you thought you knew who was going to win, the fuel situation is coming into play. And are we under caution? No, we're not. Okay. I wasn't certain if Turner was just backing his pace down here or if we actually were under yellow. Turner is in. Mitchell's in. Just about everybody else is coming in. I think J Millz was just on pit road. Adam Garcia is going to stay out an extra lap here. Why not roll the dice? You've already got a victory. You've got yourself basically locked up a spot in the playoffs, so why not try and roll the dice and see if you can pick up 2 wins in a row? Carter Friesen crossed the line as the leader that time around. I don't think that he has stayed out. Oh yeah, he did actually. Friesen did stay out an extra lap. And now he's on pit lane. Garcia should be pitting this time, and he is. And this is going to play out into the favor of guys like Benny Watson, because remember, Watson came to pit road a lot sooner than other drivers did. So he should be good to make it on fuel. We'll have to see where he cycles around. Last time by was scored in 22nd. This time by, not much better, 21st. He's battling for 20th with Phil Parker. J Qualls just now coming off pit lane along with Michael Norman. There's Belding. Scored 23rd. So who cycled out to the lead as Friesen's in his stall? Where is Deaver? Where is... Oh, there's Turner. Is Turner ahead of Deaver, though, is the question. He is! It might be Jesse Turner cycling out to this lead. There's Friesen coming off pit road. Jesse Turner may have stolen one here under pit stops in the closing stages of this race. He's scored in 5th. We're still waiting for a couple of drivers apparently to pit. Jacob Thibodeaux in the 33. Caution is out! Caution is waving! Who's the leader? Who is the race leader? As the caution is waving, it is Jesse Turner, and this race will end under yellow. The caution comes out with 4 to go. The leader just took 3 to go. This race will end under yellow, and Jesse Turner will be picking up his first win of the season here today at Pikes Peak International if nothing changes in these final 2.5 laps. And someone smoking on the front straightaway. It's Carter Friesen in the 37. K Mathews in the 09. I almost wonder if Friesen may have merged up into traffic too early when he came off pit lane after his green flag pit stop. And with 2 cars smoking, there's no way that race officials could have let this thing finish under green. It looks like Carter Friesen may have actually been up and over, as next time by, Jesse Turner, who decided to stay out the extra lap more than Cole Deaver. That was the move of the race that's going to get him this win. He's going to see the white flag this next time around, and we're going to take a look back at a replay of what brought out this caution to finish the race under yellow. Then we'll be back for the checkers. There it was, Carter Friesen coming back onto the racetrack off of pit road, and as he's coming back up, Jack Mitchell is trying to turn his car down to enter into the corner. I don't think he realized that Carter Friesen was going to slow up as much as he did since he didn't have a great entry into 3. Mitchell's going to hook Carter Friesen in the right rear quarter panel. Up hard into the wall goes the Elgato Chevrolet, and up and over onto his roof as drivers scatter out of turn 4 to try and avoid a wild ride for Carter Friesen. And then as he's trying to get this car turned back around, look at him try and split him there with Garcia and Haas. We're going to see K Mathews, who I believe was running last car on the lead lap at the time. Just about everybody's going to get through here as Friesen's trying to bring his car down to pit lane. And I think he's going to probably turn down into traffic trying to get to pit road. And just momentarily here, you're going to see the Hooters Chevrolet come into view. Should be right about here that we're going to see Mathews, enter into your screen as Friesen. Does he even actually try to come to pit road here? Looks like he actually was trying to stay out. Oh, no, there we go. He's going to turn left and, oh. It's almost the same case of what happened to Jessica Shelton back in the first caution. There's just nowhere K Mathews can go. He can't turn low because he had William Brock that was inside, and he just clobbered the back of Carter Friesen, and immediately something broke in the 09 machine as well, as both drivers billowing heavy smoke, possibly some fluid down this front straightaway being laid down. And so race officials no choice but to throw the yellow flag here, ending the race under caution and getting Jesse Turner his first win of the season. Well, Jesse Turner has just taken the white flag here at Pikes Peak International, looking for his first win here of Season 4. If you go back to last year, Jesse Turner only was a one-time winner, and that was in the regular season finale at Auto Club Speedway, and his win didn't put him high enough in the point standings to count towards a spot in the playoffs. But here, this season, Jesse Turner, who came into this race 22nd in the points, looks like he is going to join the likes of T Wright, Charles Belding, Ryan Butcher, Dylan Young, Adam Garcia, K Batson, as drivers that more than likely are going to be in this season's chase for the championship. As coming to the line, it's going to be Jesse Turner winning here today in the Peak Performance Motor Oil 400. We saw late race pit stops, we saw a late race caution, both of which played a huge factor into the outcome of this race. And I say it again, it was that move for Jesse Turner to stay out that one extra lap that I think got him this race lead at the right time, and thusly, as a result, gets him the victory here today. Lake Effect Autosport gets their first win of Season 4, as Turner will win, followed by Cole Baker, Cole Deaver, Jordan Lopez, and Jack Mitchell as your top 5. Rest of the top 10, as the standings are now official, will be Charles Sandfer, Johnny Gardner, who led a good portion of this race, will finish in 7th, Matt Haas in 8th, Adam Garcia, last week's winner, in 9th, and how about Michael Rude? Great run here today after having to work his way from dead last. Remember, he was the last driver to transfer into the main event from the non-charter event earlier on today. He'll finish up inside of the top 10. Zach Rogers, former winner here, gets 11th. J Millz in 12th. Ryan Butcher, 13th. Two-time winner, T Wright in 14th. And Benny Watson, the strategy did work to at least salvage him a top 15 finish. Rest of the top 20 were Ryan Brommer, Phil Parker, Jacob Thibodeaux, pole sitter Charles Belding, and James Qualls. Number of drivers that were running well in the point standings coming into this race did not fare well here today at Pikes Peak. Levi McIntyre finished out of the race in 41st. He was second in points. Points leader Dylan Young didn't fare all that much better. 26th for him. Carson Gum, fourth in points, was 25th. Michael Norman, ninth in the standings. He finished in where was he? I just saw him for a moment, in the 21st position. A lot of drivers struggled here today. We had 30 cars finish on the lead lap. Mitchell Collins was the last of those. Chris Dollerton, Ryan Acosta finished a lap down apiece. Dylan Poteet finished out of the race here in his Duracell Cup Series Season 4 debut. He finished 33rd due to a gearbox issue. Carter Friesen, we saw, obviously, he was smoking there in the final few laps, just brought his car to the garage area in 34th. Nathan Ormond was 2 laps down in 35th. And the rest of the drivers that did not make it to the conclusion of this race: K Mathews, Austin LaPlante, K Batson, former winner this season from Springfield, V Almariego, Joshua Osborne, Levi McIntire, and Jessica Shelton. For Batson on down through Shelton, those drivers never even made it to lap 5 before they had to have their race cars pushed back into the garage area after an incident that took place on lap 3. But that is going to do it here today from Pikes Peak International. Jesse Turner going to go to victory lane. It's the first time that a Ford has won here, I do believe. No, actually, nope. Correct that. It's back-to-back wins for Ford here at Pikes Peak International. I forgot that Dylan Young was actually the defending winner of this race coming in. But Jesse Turner, has this locked himself up a spot in the playoffs? We're going to have to wait and see. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from Pikes Peak International. Crazy one. You know, it's kind of one of those situations where you think you know what's going to happen, and all of a sudden you end up getting completely surprised and shocked. But thank you all for tuning in today's race. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, and become part of the crew today. We've shown you full feature results, and these are what your point standings look like heading into next week, as we will be at the D-shaped 1.5 mile under the lights at Texas Motor Speedway. Should be a good one there. You're not going to want to miss it. But until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA, offline racing at its best.